Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Ever get that feeling, like you're surrounded by people, tons of friends, you're successful, but still, something's missing?
Yeah, like you have all the ingredients for a happy life, but
Exactly, like the recipe just isn't working.
interesting.
Well, get this, the book we're diving into today tackles that very thing.
Oh,
It's called The Social Paradox
the social paradox of
by
it.
William von Hippel. We'll drop the Amazon link in the description below. It's a nonfiction, blends social psychology, little history, even anthropology. Really makes you think. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives. Okay, so this book, it explores this tension we feel, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on, like, the core idea here?
Well, von Hippel, he connects this feeling of, disconnect to our basic human drives,
Okay,
the need for connection, but also the need for autonomy.
makes sense. I mean, we're social creatures, but we also need our space.
Right, and these were essential for our ancestors' survival.
Oh, I see. Back in the day, it was, like, crucial for survival.
Exactly. But now those same drives, they seem to clash in the modern world.
Ah, so that's the paradox.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm following you. So how were those drives, like, key for, say, hunter-gatherers?
Imagine, right? You're living in a tribe thousands of years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Connection, well, that meant safety, right?
Safety in numbers.
Exactly. You could share resources, learn from each other, protect yourself.
From predators and stuff.
Right. But you also needed that autonomy
To, like, do your own thing.
to develop your skills, contribute something unique, like being a skilled hunter or tool maker.
Ah, so you had value, brought something to the table.
Gave you status within the tribe.
I get it. It was this balance, each drive supporting the other.
Right.
But now the book's saying things are out of whack.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, today, there's so much emphasis on individual achievement, independence. It overshadows that need for connection.
Oh, interesting.
You're constantly told to stand out, climb that ladder, be the best you. But that can be isolating.
Even if it brings success, money, all that.
Exactly.
You know what? That really resonates with me. I remember when I started out, I was so focused on proving myself, hitting those goals.
Yeah.
I barely saw my friends, my family. I was always on striving. And it took a toll, for sure.
That constant striving, the pressure to be better, it can actually make us less happy.
Like we're on that treadmill, running but going nowhere.
A perfect analogy.
So it's not achieving things that's bad, it's the overemphasis on it.
Exactly. It throws us off balance. And this is where von Hippel talks about the competence-warmth dilemma.
Competence-worth dilemma, okay.
He uses the example of companies like Google. You need brilliance, individual talent.
Sure, to innovate, all that.
But you also need teamwork, collaboration to actually get things done. But often the culture there rewards the individual.
More than the team player.
Yeah, so even where connection's valued, the system prioritizes individual achievement.
Wow, that's really thought-provoking.
It is, and this disconnect, it's part of a bigger trend, evolutionary mismatch.
Evolutionary mismatch, okay.
Our culture's changing so rapidly, our evolutionary adaptations just can't keep up.
We're running on outdated software, huh?
Exactly. The book has some great examples. Think about spiders.
Spiders.
You have that innate fear.
Right, makes sense. They were dangerous back then.
But cars, statistically, are far more dangerous now. But we don't have that same fear response.
Our instincts are messed up. We're afraid of the wrong things.
We're miswanting things, misfeeling emotions. They don't reflect the real threats. We may have tons of opportunities for connection, but...
But our brains are wired for a different world.
Exactly. To show this, von Hippel uses the Amish.
The Amish, okay, yeah.
They're a model of high connection, living a simpler life, strong community ties.
They've opted out of the rat race?
Right. And he contrasts them with what he calls the anti-Amish.
The anti-Amish.
Those of us in the knowledge economy, always striving for more autonomy, achievement.
So it's the Amish with their strong community versus the anti-Amish with their freedom but maybe less connection.
Exactly. And it's fascinating because he points out that education, seen as empowering, can actually lead to more isolation.
Really?
For the anti-Amish, at least. More knowledge, more self-reliance.
But less need for the community.
You got it. And this shows up in some surprising stats. People in cities, especially those with higher education and income, less likely to even know their neighbors.
Wow. That's a far cry from how we used to live. We've traded community for convenience and choice.
It makes you wonder about the long-term consequences.
Definitely. And speaking of trends changing the social landscape, what about marriage? It's declining, right?
Absolutely. Especially among highly educated women.
I'm guessing this ties back to connection versus autonomy.
You bet. He suggests women have more options now. They might prioritize autonomy over traditional relationships.
So they're not rejecting marriage, they just have more choices.
Right, and this increased autonomy is changing how we socialize. He talks about SMILCH.
SMILCH, what's that?
Social media-induced laziness and social habits.
Oh, wow. He made an acronym for it. That's catchy. And kind of scary because It's true, we're so used to connecting online that we forget how to do it in real life.
And the book suggests this social laziness could even impact our intimate lives.
Really?
If we don't put in the effort for real-life connections, maybe we're less likely to put in the effort for deeper intimacy.
That's a really interesting point. Is all this digital connection making us less connected on a deeper level?
It's worth considering. But let's shift gears for a sec. How has religion shaped our views on this throughout history?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. I'm always fascinated by the historical side of things.
Well, von Hippel argues that Abrahamic religions, particularly Christianity, broadened our idea of connection.
In what way?
It went beyond your immediate tribe. It became about all of humanity.
That's a huge shift from the US versus them mentality.
Huge. And he says these religions, especially Protestantism, also deepen our understanding of autonomy.
Interesting.
It emphasized individual salvation, the importance of thoughts and actions.
So not just what you do, but what you think. Powerful stuff.
Very powerful. And speaking of Western culture, the book also looks at political ideologies.
Okay, now this is going to be interesting. How does he connect politics to all of this?
He wants liberal values with connection. Fairness, helping others, social justice.
Making sure everyone has a fair shot.
Right. While conservative values focus on autonomy, individual rights, limited government, self-reliance.
Being responsible for your own destiny.
Exactly. And then you have libertarians taking autonomy to the extreme.
So where do they fit in?
It's hard to say. They're all about freedom, minimal government. So in a way, our political beliefs reflect our deepest values, how society should work, what role the individual plays.
That's really insightful.
It all leads back to the big question: how do we reconnect in a world that's pulling us apart? We have tons of autonomy, but many are craving connection. What do we do?
That's the million-dollar question, and one we'll be tackling in the next part of this deep dive.
So where do we even begin? How do we find that balance?
Right. It's like we know something's off, but how do we fix it?
Well, let's start with the obvious, right? Social media.
Ah, yeah, the double-edged sword connects us, but also isolates us.
It gets blamed for a lot, but von Hippel, he suggests we can use it strategically.
Oh, so not ditch it completely, but use it smarter.
Exactly. Think about it. It helps you stay connected to people far away. Find new friends, shared interests.
I mean, I've reconnected with old friends online, found cool communities. It's been great for that.
There you go. Join groups, connect with people, even organize real-life meetups. It's a tool.
Right, but a tool that needs to be used properly.
But the book stresses real-world interaction, too.
Of course, online's great, but it's not enough.
We still crave that face-to-face human connection.
So how do we make time for that? We're all so busy.
He suggests integrating connection into your routines.
Okay, so like instead of takeout and Netflix alone, invite a friend over for dinner.
Exactly. Or a walking meeting instead of scrolling on your phone at lunch.
It's those small, intentional moments.
They add up. Even just smiling at someone, chatting in line at the store.
Creates a sense of community.
Right. But changing habits, even good ones, it's tough.
For sure. So how do we make it stick?
He talks about implementation intentions.
Implementation intentions. That sounds intense.
It's just setting specific goals, link them to a trigger, like instead of be more social, decide, every Tuesday, call a friend.
Ah, so you have a plan, not just a vague idea.
Exactly. And self-awareness, right? What's working, what's not. Be honest, then adjust.
Yeah, there's no magic formula. It's personal.
Exactly. It's a journey, finding that balance. It's not a destination.
It's like a dance. You lead, you follow, but you're always moving together.
I like that, a dance. So, to get practical, what strategies does he recommend?
He talks about shared interests. A great way to connect because you're already doing something you enjoy.
Hobbies, passions, volunteer work. All opportunities.
I've found volunteering is amazing for that. You meet people who care about the same things.
Right, and you're giving back. Win-win. Don't forget fun, lead to two, things that bring you joy with others.
Game nights, movies, book clubs, even just grabbing coffee.
It's about nurturing those connections.
And it doesn't have to be fancy. Sometimes small gestures are the best.
A thoughtful text, a handwritten note, or just really listening to someone.
Those little things can mean a lot. But, one big hurdle is fear of rejection.
Oh, absolutely. It holds us back. What do you think about that?
We overestimate it. Von Hippel says most people want to connect. They're just waiting for someone to make the first move.
That's a good point. And even if you are rejected, don't take it personally.
Right, not everyone will click. It's about the ones who do.
And more you put yourself out there, the easier it gets. Even if 1 out of 10 people respond well, that's still one new connection.
It's about focusing on the potential, not the fear.
The more we connect, the richer our lives become. But it's not just quantity.
It's quality, too. Who are you surrounding yourself with?
People who support you, inspire you, those relationships matter.
And it's a two-way street. Give support, too.
Check in on friends, offer help, be there for people.
It strengthens those bonds.
The more you give, the more you get. But von Hippel also says, go beyond your inner circle.
Get out there in the community. Volunteer, talk to new people.
Expand your horizons.
It's the antidote to isolation.
Exactly. So to recap, the social paradox is saying the modern world, it's messed with this balance, connection and autonomy.
And that's why so many feel disconnected.
But we can change it. Be intentional, use technology wisely, prioritize real-life connection.
We can find that balance again, create a more meaningful life.
And it's a journey. Be patient, experiment, celebrate the small wins.
Even small steps towards connection make a difference. It's crazy how easy it is to forget about that connection piece.
It really is. Life gets busy, right?
Totally, we get caught up in the day-to-day. But this book, it's like a reminder, a big one.
It is.
Connection, it's not just like a nice to have.
It's essential.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive here, I'd love to hear from you all. What really stood out? From the book, from our conversation, anything that hit home for you?
Yeah, did any of von Hippel's insights, did they resonate?
Do you feel that pull toward autonomy? Maybe a little too much? What are your go-to strategies for finding that balance, connection, but still that sense of freedom?
Hit us up in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts.
And hey, don't forget to like this deep dive. Share it with anyone who might be feeling this social paradox thing,
It might even spark some good conversations.
Offline, too. Imagine that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. It's been great.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of ideas.